Close your eyes. Just for a moment, let the world you know, the digital screens, the hum of electricity, the frantic pace of the modern day, let it all dissolve. We are traveling back, through the mist of time, to a winter in 1885 America. Imagine a street in Newport or perhaps New York, where the cobblestones are dusted with a thin layer of frost, and the iron street lamps flicker with a pale, ghostly yellow light. Before us stands a mansion, a monument of stone and glass, with windows that look like dark, unblinking eyes. It is the Gilded Age, a time of immense wealth, and even deeper shadows. Within these walls, there are two worlds existing at the exact same time, in the exact same space, yet they never truly touch. There is the world of the family upstairs, a world of silk dresses that rustle like dry leaves, of grand pianos, and the scent of expensive cigars. And then, there is the world beneath, the world of the invisible. Tonight, we are going to walk through the servants' entrance. We are going to enter the life of those who were the silent heartbeat of these massive estates. In the grand architecture of 1885, a servant was more than just an employee. You were a part of the house itself, as essential as the bricks, and as silent as the floorboards. Think about that word, invisible. To be invisible doesn't mean you aren't there. It means that despite your breathing, despite your aching muscles, despite the dreams you hide behind your eyes, the world you serve has agreed not to see you. Can you feel the weight of the air inside this mansion? It's different here. It smells of beeswax, coal smoke, and a strange, heavy stillness. The hallways are long, stretching out into the gloom, lined with portraits of people who have been dead for 50 years. Their eyes seem to watch the servants, the only ones awake in the dead of night, the only ones who know the true secrets of these rooms. They lived in the corners of wealth, in the small, cramped spaces where the grand wallpaper doesn't reach. They witnessed every secret, every whispered argument behind a closed study door, every tear shed over a lost fortune, every forbidden letter burned in the hearth. They saw it all, but they remained unheard. A servant's voice was a ghost, a sound that was never meant to disturb the refined ears of the masters. Their world, your world, was one of strict, unwavering rules. Rules that governed how you walked, how you stood, and even how you breathed when a guest was in the room. In 1885, a single mistake, a smudge on a silver tray, a sneeze during a formal dinner, or a look that was too bold, could mean losing everything. And in this era, losing your place in a grand house meant losing your life as you knew it. There were no safety nets. Only the cold, winter streets. Feel the cold now. The chill that seeps through the stone walls of the basement. It's a cold that stays in your bones, no matter how many fires you light for others. You are a ghost in their home. You move when they sleep. You clean when they are away. You are the invisible hand that makes the magic of wealth possible. Imagine the texture of the rough, wooden table in the servants' hall. It's scarred with the marks of 1,000 quick meals. This is where the life of the house truly happens. Away from the velvet and the lace. Here, in the dim light of a single oil lamp, the invisible world finds its voice, if only for a whisper. But even here, there is a hierarchy. A ladder of power that is just as steep as the back stairs you climb 50 times a day. From the scullery maid at the bottom, her hands raw and red from the lye soap, to the butler at the top, his dignity as stiff as his starched collar. Everyone has their place. Everyone is watching everyone else. As we begin this journey tonight, I want you to feel the rhythm of this life. It is a slow, repetitive rhythm, like the ticking of the great clock in the foyer. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Each second is a duty. Each hour is a sacrifice. The mansions of 1885 were built to last forever, but the people who kept them running were often forgotten before the ink on their death certificates was dry. Tonight, we remember them. Tonight, you are not just a listener. You are there, in the shadows, feeling the cold brass of the door handle, hearing the distant, lonely ring of the service bell. The story we are about to tell is long. It is as long as the winter nights of the 19th century. We are going to follow the cycle of a single day, a single life, from the first spark of a match in the dark, to the final, exhausted closing of an eye in the attic. There is a peace in this history, a quiet dignity in the struggle. As you settle into your own bed, remember that for those in 1885, rest was a rare and precious gift. Let the house begin to speak to you. Listen to the sighs of the old wood. Listen to the wind rattling the servant's window. We are standing at the threshold now. The mansion is waiting. The family is sleeping. The invisible world is about to wake up. Do you hear it? Far away, in the depths of the basement, a single, small sound. The first movement of the day. The beginning of the ritual. Don't rush. We have all night. The clocks have stopped, and the past is opening its doors for us. Just breathe with me. Slow and steady. The Invisible of 1885 is not just a story. It is an echo. And if we are quiet enough, we can still hear it. We are just getting started. There is so much more to see in these shadows. So many more halls to walk. But before the sun touches the horizon, we must find our way to the very beginning of the day. To the moment when the silence is broken. Stay with me. The darkness is warm if you know where to look. Stay there, in that stillness for just a moment longer. Before we step fully back into the quiet, frozen halls of 1885, I want to take a small breath with you. If you find a sense of peace in these whispers of the past, if these stories of forgotten lives help you find a refuge from the noise of your own day, then I would be so honored if you would consider subscribing to this journey. It's a simple thing, a click of a button, but it helps this small sanctuary of ours grow. It tells the world that there are still those of us who value the quiet, who value the long, slow path of history over the rush of the modern world. And if you could give this video a like, it helps these echoes travel further, reaching someone else, perhaps someone just like you, who is searching for a bit of stillness tonight. I've been sitting here, thinking about the thread that connects us across time and space. I'm so curious, where are you listening from tonight? Are you tucked away in a quiet corner of a bustling city? Or perhaps you're in the countryside, where the night is as dark as the one we are describing in 1885. And what is the hour for you? Is it that deep, velvet hour of midnight, or are you watching the first pale light of morning creep across your floor? Please, let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them. There is a profound comfort in knowing that while I speak into the silence, you are there, somewhere out there, listening. It makes this journey feel less like a lecture, and more like a shared walk through the shadows of time. It's a comfort to know how far these echoes of the past can travel. Now, let's settle back in. Adjust your blankets once more. Feel the weight of your body as it sinks deeper into your bed or your chair. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing become as slow and rhythmic as the ticking of a grandfather clock in an empty hallway. We are leaving the world of 2026 behind. It's fading now, like a dream you can't quite remember. We are returning to the cold stone, the flickering gaslight, and the heavy, expectant silence of the great mansion. In 1885, connection was different. There were no instant messages, no glowing screens. Connection was found in a shared glance in a hallway, a letter that took weeks to cross the ocean, or the simple knowledge that you were not alone in your labor. Tonight, we are creating our own connection, a bridge of words and silence, stretching across nearly a century and a half. Imagine, if you can, the servant who stood in the same spot where you are imagining yourself now. Perhaps she too looked out a window at the same moon you see tonight. Perhaps he too wondered if anyone would ever remember his name, or the work of his hands. By being here, by listening to their story, you are answering that question. You are the witness they never had. You are the one who is finally, after all these years, acknowledging their presence. The mansion is waiting for us. The air is getting colder again. The smell of the modern world is being replaced by the scent of old wood, lavender, and the faint, sharp metallic tang of a dying coal fire. We are about to enter the most difficult hour for any servant. The hour before the world begins. The hour where the physical body is at its weakest, and the will must be at its strongest. Are you ready? Don't worry. You don't have to do the work. You only have to listen. You only have to watch as the first match is struck in the darkness. Keep your eyes closed. Let my voice be your guide through the labyrinth of the back stairs. We are going to find those invisible people again. We are going to see what it truly costs to maintain the illusion of a perfect, gilded life. The connection is made. The sanctuary is built. Now, let us return to the winter of 1885. To the moment just before the bell. Stay quiet. Stay still. The house is about to wake up. The silence of the attic is about to be broken. Can you feel the tension in the air? It's the tension of 1,000 duties waiting to be performed. It's the weight of a life lived for others. But for just a few more seconds, enjoy this peace. This is the last moment of true stillness before the machine of the mansion begins to grind. Breathe in and breathe out. We are going back. Back to the cold. Back to the shadows. Back to the life of the invisible. Let's go. Darkness, a thick, suffocating darkness. It is a Tuesday in January 1885. High in the attic of a limestone mansion in New York, the air is so still it feels heavy, like a shroud. Outside, the wind howls against the gables, a lonely, mournful sound that tells of the frozen Hudson River and the snow-dusted streets below. Then, it happens. The sound that marks the end of your brief escape into dreams. Clang, clang, clang. The service bell. It vibrates through the thin wooden door of your room, a mechanical, heartless command. In 1885, that bell is your master. It is the invisible thread that pulls you out of your thin cot and into a world where your time is no longer your own. It is exactly 5 a.m. Your eyelids feel as though they are weighted with lead. Your body, exhausted from 18 hours of labor the day before, aches in places you didn't know existed. But there is no room for hesitation. In this house, to be late is to be replaceable. As you pull back the threadbare wool blanket, the cold strikes you. It isn't just a chill, it is a physical blow. The temperature in the attic is barely above freezing. Your breath blooms in front of your face in pale, ghostly clouds vanishing into the gloom. Sit up slowly. Feel the shock of the floorboards against your bare feet. The wood is so cold it feels damp, almost biting into your skin. Beside you, in the darkness, you hear the rustle of Sarah, the senior housemaid. She doesn't speak. No one speaks at 5 a.m. Words are a luxury saved for those who don't have 100 grates to clean before breakfast. You only hear her labored breathing and the faint clink of her spectacles hitting the washstand. Now, imagine the water pitcher. A simple, flowered ceramic pitcher standing on a wooden stand. You reach for it, your fingers trembling. When you touch the surface, you hear a sharp crack. A layer of ice has formed overnight. To wash in 1885 is to break that ice, to plunge your hands into water so cold it makes your heart stutter. The first splash against your face is a violent awakening. It burns, a searing cold that leaves your skin tingling and raw. But the sleep is gone, replaced by a dull, throbbing readiness. Dressing is a ritual performed in the shadows. You don't light a candle yet, matches are expensive, and Mrs. Sterling, the housekeeper, counts every one. You dress by touch. The scratchy wool of the black dress, the stiff, starched white collar that feels like a ring of ice around your neck, the heavy apron with ties that you must knot perfectly, even in the dark. Your fingers are numb, clumsy, fumbling with the tiny buttons. Each one is a struggle. Your hands, look at them in the dim light. They are the hands of a servant. Red, chapped, the knuckles swollen from the lye soap and the winter air. These are the tools of the mansion. And today, they must be perfect. You pin your hair back, tight and severe. No stray strands. In 1885, a servant's hair was a reflection of their discipline. You open the door. The hallway is a cavern of shadows. You hold a small, flickering candle now, its tiny flame dancing in the draught. As you descend the back stairs, the servants' stairs, notice how narrow they are. How steep. These stairs were built for speed, not for comfort. They smell of old floor wax, boiled cabbage, and the faint, lingering scent of coal dust. Step, step, step. You avoid the seventh step because it groans, and a groaning board could wake the housekeeper. Silence is your shield. You pass the second floor, the floor where the family sleeps. Behind those heavy mahogany doors, the air is warm. The fires in their rooms have been tended all night by the night watchman. You can smell the faint aroma of expensive tobacco and lavender. It is a world of warmth you will never inhabit, though you are the one who maintains it. Down, further down, into the bowels of the house. The basement. Here, the smell changes. It is the scent of the machine. The great cast iron range in the kitchen is being stoked. The smell of anthracite coal and sulfur fills the air. The scullery maid is already there, her arms deep in a tub of cold water, scrubbing the heavy copper pots from last night's dinner. Her face is pale, her eyes fixed on the grime. She is the lowest in the world of the invisible, and her silence is the deepest of all. But your task lies in the shadows of the morning rooms. The grates. You carry a heavy box of black lead and a set of stiff brushes. The parlor is vast and cold, the furniture shrouded in white dust covers like a room full of ghosts. You kneel on the hearth. Feel the rough stone against your knees. The fireplace is choked with the gray, powdery ash of yesterday's fire. You must clear it, but you must do it without making a sound. No clatter of the shovel. No cloud of dust. You sift the ash through your fingers, looking for cinders, the half-burnt bits of coal that can be reused. In 1885, thrift is a religion. Even the waste of the rich must be salvaged by the poor. The ash gets into your lungs. It's a dry, bitter taste. But you brush, and you scrub. You apply the black lead polish to the iron. Circular motions. Round and round. Until the cold iron begins to shine with a dark, oily luster. It's a mindless task, and in the repetition, your thoughts begin to drift. You think of the world outside these walls. Somewhere, the sun is trying to rise over the Atlantic. Somewhere, there are people who wake up when they choose. But here, in the heart of the Gilded Age, your life is measured by the cleanliness of a grate, the shine of a floor, the invisibility of your presence. The clock in the hall chimes 6 a.m. 1 hour gone. 17 to go. The house is starting to breathe now. You hear the distant thud of the coal delivery, the rattle of the milk cans outside the back door. The invisible world is fully awake, a secret army moving through the veins of the house. You stand up, your back popping with a sharp, painful sound. You wipe a stray bead of sweat from your forehead with the back of a soot-stained hand. There is no time to rest. The water for the master's bath must be heated. The hall must be swept. The breakfast silver must be laid. As you move to the next room, you catch a glimpse of yourself in a tall, silver-framed mirror. For a second, you don't recognize the person looking back. The eyes are too old for the face. The uniform is too crisp for the exhaustion behind it. You look away. Mirrors are for the family. Shadows are for you. The winter light is finally beginning to turn the windows a bruised, watery blue. The night is over, but the darkness of the day has just begun. Stay with me. Don't let the cold take you just yet. We are moving deeper into the rituals now. Into the secret language of the back stairs. Into the moments where the invisible world begins to collide with the world of light and wealth. The bell is about to ring again. And this time, it's for the tea. The day is stretching out before us, like a long, empty hallway. We have so many rooms yet to visit. So many secrets yet to uncover. Keep your breathing slow. Let the cold air of 1885 settle around you. You are doing well. You are surviving the awakening. The transition from the attic to the lower floors is not just a change in level, it is a crossing into another dimension. You are moving now, through the back stairs, the hidden arteries of the 1885 American mansion. These stairs were never meant to be beautiful. They are narrow, twisting, and steep, built with the sole purpose of keeping you out of sight while you move with the speed of a shadow. Feel the wood beneath your feet again. It's no longer the freezing boards of the attic, but a worn, smooth timber, polished by the frantic footsteps of generations of servants. As you descend, notice the silence. It's not a natural silence, it's a practiced one. In this house, to be heard is to fail. Every servant knows exactly which board creaks and which iron railing rattles. You navigate this vertical maze by memory, your hand trailing along the cold stone walls. There is a smell here that doesn't exist upstairs. It's the smell of the service. It's a mixture of lamp oil, boiled starch, the metallic tang of coal dust, and the faint, salty scent of human sweat. This is the air of your life. While the family upstairs breathes in the scent of hothouse flowers and expensive perfumes, you inhale the exhaust of their existence. On the first landing, you pass the green baize door. Pause here for a moment. This door is the border. On one side, the thick, heavy fabric of the baize muffles all sound, protecting the family's ears from the clatter of the kitchen and the voices of the staff. On the other side is the world of luxury. To pass through that door is to transform. You must straighten your apron, tuck in your chin, and leave your personality behind. But for now, we stay on the servant's side, in the raw, unvarnished truth of the back stairs. The hierarchy here is as rigid as the stone foundation of the house. As you reach the basement level, you enter the servants' hall. This is the only place where you can truly breathe, yet even here, the rules are absolute. Think about the long, scrubbed pine table. It is the center of your world. At the head of the table sits the butler's chair. It is empty now, as he is already upstairs, checking the clocks, ensuring that time itself follows the master's will. But you can feel his presence. Mr. Harrison. A man who has spent 40 years in service. His back is so straight it looks painful, and his eyes, dark and piercing, see every smudge on a cuff, every unpolished button. Beside his place is the housekeeper's chair. Mrs. Sterling. You can hear her even when she isn't there. It's the sound of her keys. A heavy, rhythmic jingle that echoes through the basement. Those keys represent the power of the house. They unlock the sugar, the tea, the fine linens, and the secrets of the medicine cabinet. To her, you are not a girl named Clara or Mary. You are the third housemaid. A cog in a machine that must never grind to a halt. The rituals of the morning continue. The between-stairs servants, those who bridge the gap between the kitchen and the dining room, are moving with a frantic, yet silent energy. The footmen are buffing their leather shoes until they look like black glass. The scullery maid is lugging heavy buckets of water to the copper boilers. Imagine the sound of the bell board. It hangs on the wall of the basement corridor. A long row of bells, each with a different tone, each labeled with a room. Drawing room. Library. Master's bedchamber. When a bell rings, it doesn't just make a sound. It creates a physical reaction. A servant must move instantly. You don't ask why. You don't wonder what they want. You simply respond to the vibration of the wire. In 1885, the social distance between you and the family is wider than the Atlantic Ocean. You live in the same house, you see them in their most private moments, you know the texture of their skin and the smell of their breath, and yet, you are strangers. You are a ghost who cleans their rooms. You are a phantom who brings their tea. Have you ever thought about what it does to a person to spend their life in the service of another's comfort? To spend your youth ensuring that someone else's sheets are smooth while yours are coarse. To make sure their food is hot while yours is often cold and eaten in a hurry. There is a quiet dignity in it, yes, but also a profound loneliness. On the back stairs, you find your family and the other servants. A whispered joke in the pantry, a shared piece of stolen fruit, a quick squeeze of the hand when someone is crying from exhaustion. These are the small rebellions that keep you human. The day is moving now. The ritual of the water begins. You must carry gallon after gallon of hot water up those steep, narrow stairs. Think of the weight. The heavy brass cans, the steam rising into your face, the ache in your shoulders that feels like a dull flame. The master wants his bath at exactly 7:30. If the water is too cold, you will hear the bell. If the water is too late, you will see the housekeeper's ledger. You are moving upward again. Step by step by step. Your heart is thumping in your chest, but you must keep your breathing quiet. You cannot arrive at the master's door panting like a tired dog. You must appear calm, composed, and ready to disappear. As you reach the top floor, you see the morning light through a skylight. It's a pale, watery yellow, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. The house is waking up. The upstairs world is beginning to stir. You hear the soft click of a door handle. Quickly, you step into a closet, a small, dark space where the mops and brooms are kept. You press your back against the wall. You hold your breath. A member of the family is passing by. You hear the rustle of a silk dressing gown. The soft, pampered footsteps on the thick carpet. They don't know you are there, inches away, hidden in the dark. For a moment, you are the ultimate observer. You see them as they truly are, before the mask of the day is put on. They pass. The hallway is clear. You step out of the shadows. You have a task to complete. The master's clothes must be laid out. His boots, polished to a mirror finish, must be placed exactly 2 inches apart. His newspaper must be ironed, yes, ironed, so the ink doesn't stain his fingers and the paper is crisp and warm. Every detail matters. In 1885, perfection is the only acceptable standard. Because if everything is perfect, the family can pretend that you don't exist. They can pretend that the house runs itself. But we know the truth. We know the ritual of the backstairs. We know the sweat and the struggle behind the silk and the silver. As you move back down to the kitchen for the next load, feel the rhythm of the house taking hold of you. You are part of the pulse now. The machine is humming. But the sun is still low. The hardest part of the morning is still ahead. The breakfast, the cleaning, the endless demands of a house that never sleeps. Stay with me. Keep your eyes heavy. The stairs are long, but we are walking them together. The next bell is about to ring. Can you hear the wire humming? It's the dining room. The stage is being set. And you, the invisible actor, must take your place. The backstairs are never empty. Even when you are alone, the echoes of those who came before you are still there. The ghosts of 1,000 maids, 1,000 footmen, all moving in the same silent patterns. We are just one part of the pattern. One thread in the velvet. Rest your mind for a moment, before the next duty calls. The stairs have taken their toll, and your breath is finally beginning to settle, but there is no time for true rest. Now, we move into the quietest, and yet the most physical ritual of the morning. The tending of the hearth. In the grand estates of 1885, fire was the lifeblood of the house, but it was a demanding, messy god. Imagine yourself kneeling once again. not in prayer, but in service. The drawing room is vast, and in the pre-dawn light, the shadows of the heavy mahogany furniture look like giants looming over you. You are small, huddled on the cold marble of the hearth. The fireplace before you is a blackened maw, filled with the cold, gray remains of last night's warmth. Feel the grit of the ash on your skin. It is a fine, ghost-like powder that clings to everything. It finds its way into the pores of your hands, under your fingernails, and into the very fabric of your soul. Reach out with your small iron shovel. Hear the sound it makes as it scrapes against the fire brick. Scrape, scoop, sift. Scrape, scoop, sift. This sound is the heartbeat of the early morning house. You must be incredibly careful. If you move too quickly, a cloud of ash will rise, drifting like a gray fog onto the priceless silk upholstery and the Persian rugs. If that happens, the housekeeper's wrath will be swifter than the wind. So, you move with the precision of a surgeon. As you sift through the gray dust, your fingers find the cinders. These are the half-burnt lumps of coal, still black and heavy, that didn't fully surrender to the flames. In 1885, nothing is wasted. Not even the scraps of a fire. You place them into a separate metal bucket, their clink echoing in the silent room like a lonely bell. These cinders will be used later, perhaps in the laundry stoves, or to bank the fires in the lower halls. The ash is cold now, but as you dig deeper, you find a lingering warmth. A tiny, glowing coal, buried deep in the heart of the gray. It's a faint, orange eye, staring back at you in the gloom. It's the last remnant of yesterday. For a brief second, you hold your hand near it, feeling that tiny, pathetic pulse of heat. It's the only warmth you've felt since you left your bed, and you cherish it until it finally fades into black. Now, the cleaning begins. You take your brush, the bristles stiff and worn. You must scrub the soot from the fire back. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The soot is different from the ash. It is oily, dark, and stains everything it touches. It's the shadow of the coal. As you work, your mind begins to drift, as it always does during the mindless labor. You think about the fires you've lit in your life. The small, humble fire in your mother's cottage, where the smoke smelled of peat and wood, not this heavy, sulphurous coal. You remember how the family would huddle around that one hearth, sharing stories, sharing warmth. Here, in this mansion, there are 20 fires, but no one huddles. The warmth is a commodity, delivered to each room like a package, invisible and expected. The fireplace is now empty, a clean, black slate. But it is not yet beautiful. You pull out the tin of black lead, the graphite paste that gives the Victorian hearth its signature, obsidian shine. You take a rag, and you begin to apply it. The smell is sharp, chemical, almost sweet in a sickening way. You rub the paste into the iron, your muscles aching from the repetitive motion. Round and round. Polish and buff. You see the iron change. It goes from a dull, dusty gray to a deep, shimmering black. It's satisfying, in a strange, lonely way. You are creating beauty that will only be destroyed tonight, when the master strikes a match and the flames begin to eat away at your work. This is the cycle of your existence. Creation and destruction. Cleaning and soiling. You spend your life erasing the marks of living, so that the family can begin again with a clean house. You are the one who resets the world every morning. Now, the wood. You lay the paper first, twist it into tight coils. Then the kindling, dry, splintered wood that smells of pine forests you will never visit. You stack them in a perfect wigwam, leaving enough space for the air to breathe. Air is life for a fire, just as silence is life for a servant. Finally, the coal. The black diamonds of the 19th century. You place the lumps carefully, building a pyramid of fuel. You don't light it yet. Not until the master is ready to wake. But the stage is set. The hearth is cold, but it is ready. You stand up, your knees cracking like dry twigs. You look down at your hands. They are no longer human. They are black, covered in graphite and ash, the skin looking like it belongs to a statue. You wipe them on a rag, but the black doesn't come off. It's a permanent part of your identity now. You look at the room. The drawing room is still dark, but the hearth looks magnificent. It is a dark mirror, reflecting the faint light of the coming morning. You have done your duty. 1 room down. 19 to go. Think about the silence of this work. No one sees the soot. No one sees the kneeling. No one sees the effort it takes to make a cold room feel like a home. You are like the air itself, unnoticed until you are gone. As you pick up your buckets, the metal handles biting into your chapped palms, you hear a sound from the hallway. It's the heavy, rhythmic tramp of the footman. He is bringing the coal scuttles for the upstairs bedrooms. The machine is moving faster now. The tempo of the house is increasing. You slip out of the drawing room, merging once more into the shadows of the corridor. You must wash your hands quickly, for soon you will be required to handle fine linen and delicate china. The transition from the soot of the hearth to the silk of the parlor is a bridge you cross a dozen times a day. Can you feel the dust in your throat? A dry, tickling sensation that makes you want to cough, but you suppress it. Servants do not cough in the hallways. You swallow the dust, and you keep moving. The sun is beginning to hit the tops of the trees outside. A pale, winter gold. It's beautiful, but for you, it's just a signal. A signal that the most visible part of your day is about to begin. The kitchen is calling. The smell of frying bacon and toasted bread is starting to drift up from the basement. It's a cruel smell, tempting and warm, while your stomach is a hollow ache. But the hearth is clean. The ash is gone. You have conquered the fire for another day. Stay with me. Don't lose yourself in the dust. We are walking toward the light now, toward the heart of the kitchen, where the secrets are whispered over the steam of the kettles. The housekeeper is watching the clock. The butler is straightening his coat. And you are moving toward the center of the storm. Take a deep breath, even if it tastes of coal. You are still here. You are still breathing. The next bell is waiting to ring. It's the call for the morning tea. The ash is behind us, but the heat of the kitchen is ahead. Let the rhythm of the house carry you. Don't fight the tide. Just keep moving. Leave the cold marble of the hearth behind, and follow the scent. It is a thick, heavy aroma that clings to the stone walls of the basement. It is the scent of survival and service. Fried salt pork, roasted coffee beans, and the sharp, acidic tang of lemon juice. You are descending back into the depths, into the kitchen. The heart that pumps life into the frozen body of the mansion. In 1885, The kitchen was not just a room. It was a battlefield of etiquette and rank. As you step through the doorway, the heat hits you like a physical weight. After the biting chill of the attic and the drafty corridors upstairs, this warmth should be a comfort, but it is a frantic, oppressive heat. The great cast-iron range is roaring now, its black surface glowing with a dull, dangerous red. Notice the sounds. The rhythmic thud-thud-thud of a heavy knife against a wooden block. The hiss of a copper kettle coming to a boil. The bubbling of thick porridge in a ceramic pot. And over it all, the silence of the staff. In a well-run house, the kitchen is never noisy with talk. It is noisy only with work. Look around at the faces. Here, the hierarchy of the house is laid bare, as clear as the different cuts of meat on the butcher's table. At the center of this world stands the cook. She is a woman of formidable presence, her sleeves rolled up to reveal arms as thick as the rolling pin she wields. To the family upstairs, she is a name on a menu. To you, she is a queen whose kingdom is made of flour and fire. She does not look up as you enter. Her eyes are fixed on the scales, measuring out the sugar for the morning marmalade with the precision of an alchemist. If the cook is angry, the whole house suffers. A burnt toast or a fallen soufflé is not just a culinary mistake, it is a crack in the foundation of the estate's dignity. Then, there is the scullery maid. Look at her, tucked away in the dampest, darkest corner of the room. She is the lowest of the low. Her world is one of grease and gray water. She spends her entire day hunched over a stone sink, scrubbing the black-bottom pots with sand and soda. Her hands are never dry. Her skin is puckered and white, the soap eating away at her youth. When you look at her, you see a mirror of what you once were, or what you fear you might become if you stumble. There is a tragedy in her silence. She is the foundation upon which even the cook stands, yet she is the most forgotten of all. The kitchen is a machine of tears. The kitchen maids, who peel and chop until their fingers are stained yellow and green. The footmen, who wait by the service lift, their posture perfect, their minds calculating the exact second they must ascend. And then, there is the butler. He enters the kitchen like a visiting dignitary. He does not belong to the heat and the grease. He belongs to the silver and the wine. He checks his pocket watch. A heavy gold piece that reflects the flickering gaslight. He doesn't speak to the scullery maid. He only speaks to the cook. A brief exchange of nods. The morning orders are confirmed. Think about the tension in this room. It is a world governed by the clock. 7:15 a.m. The trays must be prepared. Not just any trays. Each one is a work of art, designed to hide the fact that human hands ever touched it. You are tasked with the master's tray. Imagine the weight of the silver. It is heavy, cold, and polished so brightly it hurts the eyes. You place the linen napkin. It must be white, whiter than the snow outside, stiff with starch, folded into a perfect triangle. Then, the china. Delicate, bone-thin teacups that cost more than your entire year's wages. If you drop one, your life in this house ends. If you chip one, your wages are docked. Your hands, still stained with the ash from the hearth, must be scrubbed raw before you touch the porcelain. Feel the sting of the soap as it enters the cracks in your skin. You are constantly washing, constantly trying to erase the marks of your labor so you can serve the world above. There is a strange hunger in the kitchen. The smells of the breakfast are tantalizing, but they are not for you. You might get a bowl of thin gruel or a piece of hard bread later, if there is time. For now, you feed the house. You watch the butter being molded into delicate curls, the eggs being poached to trembling perfection, the bacon being crisped until it smells like heaven itself. You are a ghost at a feast. The housekeeper, Mrs. Sterling, moves through the kitchen now. She is checking the larders. She knows exactly how many eggs were in the basket last night. She knows if a spoonful of cream has gone missing. In 1885, poverty and plenty live side by side, separated only by a locked door and a watchful eye. She looks at your tray. She adjusts a spoon by a fraction of an inch. She says nothing. The silence is her approval. The tempo is reaching its peak. The upstairs is waking. The bells on the board are beginning to dance. Ting, ting, ting. Each one a different room, a different demand. The footmen are lifting the heavy trays. The kitchen maids are rushing with the hot water jugs. You take your place in the line. You are part of the procession. Up the back stairs again, but this time, you are carrying the bounty of the basement. As you leave the heat of the kitchen, the cool air of the hallway feels sharp. The transition is jarring. Your muscles are tense. Your mind is focused on the balance of the tray. But in the kitchen, the work never stops. Once the breakfast is sent up, the preparation for the luncheon begins. Then the tea. Then the dinner. It is a relentless, circular grind. Have you ever wondered if the family knows? If they know that the cook has a toothache? If they know the scullery maid is crying into the dishwater? No. They don't know. Because the hierarchy is designed to filter out the humanity. By the time the food reaches the dining room, it has no history. It has no struggle. It is just breakfast. But you know the history. You know the heat. You know the ranking. You know that in this house, everyone is serving someone, and everyone is afraid of the person above them. Stay in this moment of transition. Feel the weight of the tray in your hands. The silver is warming from the heat of the teapot. The scent of Earl Grey tea rises in a delicate plume of steam, tickling your nose. You are crossing the threshold again, moving from the realm of fire and grease into the realm of silk and silence. The master is waiting, and the invisible world must now perform its most delicate dance. The kitchen is fading behind you, but its heat stays in your bones. Keep your steps light. Don't let the china rattle. We are going upstairs, to the rooms where the secrets are kept in velvet boxes. The day is only beginning, and the hierarchy is watching your every move. The breakfast trays have been delivered, the frantic energy of the kitchen has momentarily subsided, and now, you find yourself in the small, windowless sanctuary of the butler's pantry. This is a room of quiet reflection, literally and figuratively. In the grand estates of 1885, wealth wasn't just held in banks, it was held in the weight of the silver. And that silver is your burden today. Imagine the table before you. It is covered in a soft, green baize cloth to protect the precious metal. Spread out across it is the service. Hundreds of forks, spoons, knives, salvers, and tea urns. To anyone else, they are just utensils. To you, they are a mountain of labor that must be climbed every single week. Take a breath. The air in here is thick, not with the smoke of the kitchen, but with the chemical tang of silver polish. It's a sharp, chalky scent that catches in the back of your throat. You pick up a heavy, ornate silver spoon. Feel the weight of it. This single piece of metal costs more than your father earned in a year of farming. It is cold, solid, and currently, it is tarnished. A dark, bluish-black film has crept over the silver, like a shadow stealing across a moonlit field. Your job is to erase that shadow. You dip your soft cloth into the pink polishing paste. Apply, rub, circular motions. Round and round. The cloth makes a rhythmic, muffled sound against the metal. Swish, swish, swish. As you rub, the tarnish begins to give way. The dull blackness is replaced by a blinding, liquid light. And then, it happens. You see yourself. In the curved bowl of the spoon, a distorted, miniature version of your face appears. You are warped by the silver. Your eyes look large and weary, your cap looks like a strange, white mountain, and your lips are pressed into a thin, tired line. This is the shame of the silver. You spend hours looking into these reflections, yet you are never meant to truly see yourself. You are only there to ensure the reflection is perfect for someone else. The master will look into this spoon tonight, he will see the gleam, he will see the status, but he will never see the hours of your life that went into that shine. Think about the hands that held this spoon before you. Your ancestors in service, perhaps your mother, or a woman you never knew who lived in this house 50 years ago. They did exactly what you are doing. They rubbed the same metal, they saw their own distorted faces, and they faded away, while the silver remained. The silver is permanent. You are temporary. The repetition of the work begins to pull you into a trance. Polish, buff, set aside. Polish, buff, set aside. Your thumb is beginning to ache from the constant pressure. The skin on your hands is becoming stained with the gray residue of the tarnish. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? To make something so clean, you must make yourself so dirty. In 1885, a tarnished spoon was a sign of a decaying household. A smudge was a scandal. If a guest at dinner saw a fingerprint on their fork, it was a mark of shame on the housekeeper, the butler, and ultimately, on you. So you scrub. You use a tiny, soft brush to get into the intricate carvings on the handle. The heraldic crest of the family, a lion, a crown, symbols of power that you know better than your own family tree. You know every scratch on this silver. You know which fork has a bent tine. You know the exact weight of the soup ladle. There is a strange intimacy in this. You know these objects better than the people who own them. To them, the silver is a right. To you, the silver is a responsibility. The pantry is silent, save for the ticking of the wall clock. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Every second is a stroke of the cloth. You find yourself counting. 1, 2, 300. How many thousands of times will you move your arm today? How much of your life is being rubbed away into this metal? There is a feeling of in-between in this room. You are not in the heat of the fire, and you are not in the light of the parlor. You are in the quiet transition. Sometimes, in this silence, the shame feels heavier than the silver. The shame of having dreams that don't fit into a servant's uniform. The shame of wanting to be the one using the spoon, rather than the one cleaning it. But you push those thoughts down. In 1885, a wandering mind is a dangerous thing. You focus on the luster. You want it to be perfect. Not for the master, not for the housekeeper, but for yourself. Because in this moment, the shine on this silver is the only thing you can control. It is the only evidence that you were here today, that you did something, that you existed. The sunlight is moving across the floor of the pantry. A narrow, dusty beam of light filled with dancing motes of lint. It hits the pile of finished spoons, and for a second, the room is filled with 1,000 tiny suns. It is beautiful. A cold, sterile beauty, but beauty nonetheless. You pick up the next piece. A heavy silver salver, used for carrying letters or calling cards. It is like a mirror. As you polish it, you think about the news this tray has carried. Births, deaths, bills, invitations to balls. The drama of the world above passes over this tray in a constant stream, and you are the one who keeps the stage clean. Your reflection in the salver is clearer now. You look at the cap on your head. The badge of service. In the outside world, people might look at you and see a person. But inside these walls, they see the cap. They see the apron. They see the silver. Do you ever wonder, if you stopped polishing, would the house stop breathing? If the silver stayed dark, would the family's power fade? Probably not. They would just find another hand to hold the cloth. Another face to look into the distorted bowl of the spoon. The tray is finished. You set it down with a soft clink. Your arms feel like lead. Your eyes are tired from the glare of the polished metal. But the mountain is smaller now. The butler returns. He doesn't say, "Well done." He simply runs a white-gloved finger over the surface of a salver. He checks for dust, for streaks, for the ghost of a fingerprint. The glove stays white. He nods. That nod is your reward. That nod is your permission to continue to the next task. The shame of the reflection stays in the pantry as you leave. You tuck your hands into your apron, hiding the gray stains, hiding the ache. You are moving back into the hallways. The silver is ready for the night, ready to witness the dinner, ready to be used and soiled once more. And tomorrow, you will be back here, breaking the tarnish, finding your face in the spoons. Stay in this quiet for a moment longer. Feel the weight of the metal in your memory. The house is still, but the clocks are never ending. The master is calling for his boots. The mistress is calling for the carriage. The invisible world is shifting gears. We are moving away from the silver now, into the grand hallways, where we must become part of the architecture. Keep your head down. Keep your hands hidden. The next bell is ringing, far away, but persistent. It is time to become a ghost again. The shine follows you, a cold light in the back of your mind. Don't look back at the reflection. Just move. Just serve. Leave the silver behind, leave the small sanctuary of the pantry, and step out into the grand artery of the house. The main hallway. In 1885. This is not just a passage from one room to another. It is a stage. A place of marble, velvet, and high-stakes social theater. But you are not an actor on this stage. You are the stagehand who must remain unseen while the play is in motion. Imagine the length of this corridor. It feels miles long when you are carrying a heavy load. The floor is made of cold, white marble, polished to such a high degree that it looks like a frozen lake. Your footsteps, if you were not careful, would echo like thunder in this vast space. But you have learned the servant's walk. It is a glide. A movement where the heel never strikes too hard, where the weight is distributed so evenly that you move across the stone like a breath of wind. You are carrying a stack of fresh linens, or perhaps a basin of warm water. Your arms ache, but your face must be a mask of perfect, blank neutrality. Suddenly, you hear it. The sound of a door opening at the far end of the hall. Click. Rustle. It is the mistress. Or perhaps a guest. Your heart gives a small, sharp thud in your chest. In this world, to have a direct encounter with a member of the family is not a social opportunity. It is a moment of extreme tension. You must now perform the ritual of the ghost. If there is a doorway nearby, you slip into it. If there is a large piece of furniture, a tall clock or a heavy cabinet, you pull yourself close to it. But if the hallway is open, if there is nowhere to hide, you perform the ultimate feat of Victorian service. You turn your face toward the wall. Imagine yourself standing there, inches away from a priceless tapestry or a gold-framed portrait. You stand perfectly still. Your eyes are cast down, fixed on a single thread in the carpet or a speck of dust on the baseboard. You must not look at them. To look at them is to acknowledge your own existence, and that is a breach of contract. You hear the rustle of her silk skirt approaching. Swish, swish, swish. The scent of her perfume, something expensive and floral, like crushed roses and musk, fills the air around you. It is so close you could reach out and touch the fabric of her sleeve. But you don't. You don't even breathe. You hold your breath until your lungs burn. She passes you, and she doesn't even slow down. To her, you are not a girl with a name or a family. You are a shadow. You are a part of the wall. You are no more significant than the chair she just passed or the lamp on the table. This is the ghost in the hallway. To be so physically present, to feel the warmth of another human being as they pass, and yet to be completely, utterly ignored. Think about the psychological weight of that moment. What does it do to a person to be treated as an object, day after day? To have people talk over you as if you were deaf? To have them look through you as if you were made of glass? Some servants find a strange power in it. When you are a ghost, you see things. You see the mistress's face when the mask of politeness drops. You see the way she clenches her jaw, the way she wipes a tear from her eye when she thinks no one is looking. You see the master's hand tremble as he holds a glass of brandy. Because you are invisible, they don't hide from you. You are the keeper of the house's most intimate truths. But today, the hallway feels particularly long. The family has guests for luncheon. That means the hallways are high-traffic zones. It means you are constantly ghosting. Stop. Wait. Fade. Move. Stop. Wait. Fade. The heavy velvet curtains at the windows muffle the sounds of the outside world. The carriages on the street, the shouts of the street vendors, the life of the city, all of it feels 1,000 miles away. Inside this house, time is thick. It moves like honey. You reach the end of the hall and slip through the green baize door, back into the service. The moment the door closes behind you, you let out your breath in a long, shaky sigh. Your shoulders drop. Your face relaxes. For a second, you are a human being again. But only for a second. Sarah is there, her face flushed from the heat of the kitchen. Quickly, she whispers. The library fire has gone out, and the master is heading there now. You turn back. Back through the door. Back into the ghost world. You carry the coal scuttle, trying to keep the metal handle from rattling. Clink. A tiny sound, but in the silence of the grand hall, it sounds like a gunshot to your ears. You hurry, glide, glide, glide. You reach the library before him. You work fast. Your hands, still stained from the morning's ash, move with frantic grace. Crumpled paper, kindling, a match. The flame takes hold just as you hear his heavy footsteps in the hall. You don't leave through the main door. You use the small, hidden jib door, a door disguised as a bookshelf. You pull it shut just as the master enters. From the tiny crack in the door, you watch him for a heartbeat. He walks to the fire you just built. He warms his hands. He has no idea who built that fire. He has no idea that a woman was kneeling on that spot 10 seconds ago. To him, the fire simply is. This is your life in 1885. A series of disappearing acts. You are the architect of a comfort you are never allowed to share. You are the ghost that keeps the mansion alive. The hallway is empty now. The shadows are stretching longer as the winter sun begins its slow descent. The gas lamps have not yet been lit. The house is in that strange, blue hour where the line between the living and the ghosts is thinnest. You walk back toward the kitchen, your footsteps silent on the marble. You pass a mirror, a grand, gold-leaf mirror in the foyer. You don't look. You've learned not to look. Because if you look, and you see a ghost, you might start to believe it. Keep your eyes on the floor. Keep your hands in your apron. There is a sense of exhaustion that is deeper than physical. It is the exhaustion of being nobody. Of being a silent observer in a world that is loud with its own importance. But the day is not over. The luncheon is about to begin. And ghosts are needed to serve the wine. Stay with me in this blue hour. Feel the cold stone through your thin shoes. Hear the distant, muffled laughter of the guests in the parlor. It is a lonely world, but it is your world. The next bell is ringing, a soft, silver chime from the dining room. The ghosts must gather. The play is moving to the next act. The hallway remains, long and silent. Wait for the signal. Then, disappear once more. Leave the silence of the grand hallway behind, and follow the heat. It is not the dry, scorching heat of the kitchen range, but a heavy, damp warmth that sticks to your skin and curls your hair. We are descending even deeper, past the coal cellars, to the laundry. In 1885, this is the place where the house's pride is scrubbed, boiled, and ironed into submission. As you push open the heavy oak door, a cloud of thick, white steam rolls out to meet you, smelling intensely of lye soap, starch, and wet linen. The sound here is constant. The rhythmic slosh-slosh of the washing dolly, the hissing of the heavy flat irons sitting on the stove, and the occasional snap of a wet sheet being shaken out. It is a world of water and vapor. Look at the laundry maids. Their faces are permanently flushed a deep, feverish red from the steam. Their sleeves are rolled high, revealing arms that are corded with muscle and pale from being constantly submerged in hot water. In the hierarchy of the invisible, the laundry maid is a specialist of the intimate. Think about what they hold in their hands. Every day, the most private remnants of the family's life pass through this room. The sweat on a master's collar, the grass stains on a child's stocking, the teardrops dried into a mistress's silk handkerchief. To the world upstairs, these things are discarded and forgotten. But here, in the laundry, they are read like a book. The laundry is where the secrets are kept, and where they are washed away. Imagine the copper. A massive, built-in vat filled with boiling water, heated from a fire beneath. You stand over it with a long wooden pole, stirring the heavy, sodden sheets. Stir and pull, stir and pull. The steam rises into your eyes, making them sting and water. The weight of wet linen is immense, like trying to lift a drowned body from the deep. Your back groans with the effort, but you cannot stop. The linen must be white. Whiter than the clouds. Whiter than the master's conscience. In 1885, cleanliness was next to godliness, but it was a godliness bought with the raw, bleeding knuckles of women in the basement. Look at the soap. Not the delicate, scented bars found in the mistress's wash basin, but the yellow soap. Hard, aggressive blocks made of tallow and caustic soda. It eats at the dirt, but it also eats at your skin. You rub the fabric against the zinc washboard. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The sound is harsh, a grating vibration that travels up your arms and into your teeth. But as you scrub, you notice a small, dark spot on a fine linen shirt. A wine stain? Or perhaps something else? The laundry maids exchange a glance. No words are needed. They know. They know who stayed out late, they know who is ill, they know whose marriage is a cold, empty room. The laundry speaks the truths that the parlor tries to hide. After the washing comes the wringing. You and Sarah take opposite ends of a heavy tablecloth. You twist in opposite directions. Feel the tension in the fabric. The water pours out in a heavy stream, splashing onto the stone floor. Your muscles tremble from the strain. Then, the mangle. A massive machine of heavy wooden rollers and iron gears. You turn the handle, clack, 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 as the linen is crushed flat, the water forced out by sheer, mechanical weight. The air in the drying room is different. It is a stifling, dry heat. Rows upon rows of wooden horses hold the white sheets, looking like rows of ghosts waiting for the night. You walk among them, feeling the damp fabric brush against your face. It is a labyrinth of linen. And then, the ironing. This is the ritual of precision. The sad irons sit on the laundry stove, getting so hot they glow with a faint blue light. You pick one up with a thick rag, testing its heat by holding it near your cheek, or spitting on the base to hear it hiss. If the iron is too cold, it will not smooth the creases. If it is too hot, it will scorch the priceless lace, and your life in this house will be over. You press the iron down. Hiss. A cloud of steam rises as the starch takes hold. You move the iron in long, steady strokes. The smell of hot, scorched cotton fills the room. It is a comforting smell, in a way, because it means the work is almost done. Think of the collar of a shirt. It must be stiff enough to cut glass. You dip your fingers into the cold, blue starch, rubbing it into the fabric before the iron passes over it. It is a transformation. You are taking the limp, dirty rags of humanity and turning them back into the crisp, sharp armor of the aristocracy. When the family puts on these clothes, they feel renewed. They feel powerful. They have no idea of the steam, the lye soap, or the aching backs that created that feeling. To them, the clothes simply appear in their wardrobes, clean, white, and silent. But in the laundry, the silence is never empty. It is filled with the knowledge of the body. You know the master is getting older by the way his waistbands are let out. You know the mistress is anxious by the way she tears her lace trimmings. You hold their lives in your damp, red hands. The sun is beginning to move higher in the sky now, though you can barely see it through the high, barred windows of the basement, windows that are always clouded with condensation. The world outside is a blur of gray and white. You take a moment to wipe the sweat from your brow with your apron. Your shift is damp, clinging to your back. You are tired, so very tired, but the small laundry is still waiting. The delicate silks, the embroidery, the things that cannot be mangled, only handled with the fingertips. The rhythm of the laundry is a heavy, slow pulse. It is the heartbeat of the mansion's vanity. As you hang the final sheet, look at the forest of white around you. It is a beautiful sight, in its own way. A testament to your endurance. The secrets are washed away. The stains are gone. The house is ready to face the world again, its mask firmly in place. But your hands, they still smell of lye. They still ache from the mangle. Stay here in the steam for just a moment longer. Let the warmth settle into your joints before we return to the dry, cold world above. The luncheon bell is about to ring. The family will sit down at a table covered in the very linen you just ironed. They will not think of you. But the linen remembers. The steam is clearing, just a little. The next task is calling. And the invisible world must keep moving. The laundry is a place of water and truth. But the truth must be folded and put away. Prepare yourself. The stairs are waiting. The sun has reached its peak, hanging like a pale, frozen coin in the winter sky above the mansion. But inside these stone walls, the light feels different. It is a stagnant, heavy yellow, filtering through the thick curtains of the morning rooms. We have reached the midpoint of the day. 1 p.m. The hour of the great wait. Can you feel it? It's not a sharp pain, but a dull, pulsing ache that starts in the arches of your feet and crawls up your spine, settling behind your eyes. You have been awake for 8 hours. You have carried water, scrubbed ash, polished silver, and climbed those narrow stairs more times than you can count. And yet, you are only halfway through. In the grand houses of 1885, the afternoon was a strange, suspended time. The frantic energy of the morning has passed, and the formal rituals of the evening have not yet begun. The house falls into a deceptive quiet. The family is at luncheon, their voices muffled by the heavy mahogany doors of the dining room. In the hallways, the air feels thick, as if the house itself is holding its breath. You are standing in the shadows of the back corridor, leaning your head against the cool, damp stone of the wall. Just for a second. Close your eyes. The darkness behind your eyelids is a relief, but it's dangerous. If you close them for too long, the exhaustion will swallow you whole. Your body is begging for rest, but your mind is a list of unfinished tasks. The luncheon trays must be cleared. The parlors must be checked for stray crumbs. The master's study needs a fresh candle. There is no such thing as a break. In the Victorian world, a servant sitting down is a servant who is not earning their keep. Think about the silence of this hour. It's not a peaceful silence. It's the silence of suppression. You hear the distant, rhythmic tick-tock of the clock in the foyer. It sounds like a hammer against a drum. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Every second is a weight added to your shoulders. You look down at your hands. They are trembling, just a little. A fine, involuntary quiver in the fingers. The skin is raw from the lye and the steam of the laundry, and your knuckles are swollen from the cold. These hands don't feel like yours anymore. They feel like tools, worn and frayed at the edges, belonging entirely to the estate. The midday meal for the staff was a hurried affair in the basement. A bowl of lukewarm stew, perhaps a crust of bread that was too hard for the table upstairs. You ate it in silence, your eyes fixed on the wooden grain of the table. There was no talk of dreams or the future. Only the heavy, rhythmic sound of chewing and the clink of tin spoons. The food gave you fuel, but it didn't give you energy. Now, you must ascend again. Every step up the back stairs feels like pulling your feet out of deep, thick mud. Your legs are heavy, like columns of lead. You reach the second floor and pause, clutching the banister. Your heart is thumping a slow, heavy rhythm against your ribs. The mansion feels like a labyrinth today. A maze of endless corridors, heavy doors, and dust that never stays settled. You walk through the library. The scent of old leather and tobacco is overwhelming in the midday heat of the fire. You see a chair. A deep, velvet-covered armchair by the window. Imagine, just for a heartbeat, what it would be like to sit there. To feel the softness of the fabric, to watch the snow fall outside without a bucket in your hand. The temptation is a physical pull, like a magnet. But you don't sit. You can't. You turn away, your eyes returning to the floor, searching for a stray thread, a speck of dust, anything that justifies your presence in the room. This is the midday exhaustion. It's the moment when the reality of your life becomes unavoidable. The realization that this day, this long, weary day, is just one of thousands. The weight of the past and the weight of the future collide in the present moment, and it feels like you might break. But then, you hear it. A soft, silver chime. The luncheon is over. The spell of the afternoon quiet is broken. The doors of the dining room swing open, and the upstairs world spills back into the hallways. You must vanish. You must become the ghost again. You pull yourself together. You straighten your cap. You smooth your apron. The exhaustion is pushed down, deep into the basement of your soul. You put on the mask of the perfect servant. A face without expression, eyes without light. You move to clear the table. The room smells of roasted meat and fine wine. Half-eaten delicacies lie on the plates, things you have never tasted, things you will never know the names of. As you carry the heavy tray away, your wrists ache from the weight of the silver and the crystal. The service continues. Think about the endurance of the human spirit in these moments. How the body keeps moving when the mind has gone numb. You are part of a grand, silent machinery. A machine that doesn't care if a gear is tired, only that it turns. As you walk back toward the service lift, you catch a glimpse of the sun through a small, high window. It's beginning to sink. The long, golden shadows of the afternoon are starting to stretch across the floor. The blue hour is approaching. The exhaustion is still there, a constant companion, but the rhythm of the work provides a strange kind of momentum. You move because you must. You serve because you are. The house is shifting gears again. The afternoon tea must be prepared. The guests will soon be calling for their carriages, or for fresh coal. The cycle never breaks. Stay in this heavy moment with me. Feel the weight of the day pressing down. Hear the distant, muffled sounds of the house waking up for its evening performance. The exhaustion is a sea, and you are swimming through it, stroke by stroke, breath by breath. You are not alone in the deep. The next bell is ringing. A sharp, persistent sound from the drawing room. The afternoon is fading, and the evening's demands are calling from the shadows. Keep your head up. Just for a little longer. The light is changing, and the invisible world must prepare for the night. The weight is heavy, but you are stronger than the stone. Wait for the echo to die down. Then, begin the climb again. The air inside the mansion has become stagnant, filled with the scent of old wax and the heavy exhaustion of the afternoon. Now, for a brief moment, we are going to step outside. Not as a guest taking a leisurely stroll, but as a servant tasked with the care of the Garden of Solitude. Open the heavy oak side door. Hear the sharp, sudden creak of the frozen hinges. The transition is violent. The humid, heated air of the kitchen is instantly replaced by the biting, crystal-clear cold of a January afternoon in 1885. The wind catches your breath, snatching it away in a wisp of white vapor. Step out onto the gravel path. Crunch, crunch, crunch. In the summer, this garden is a riot of color, roses, peonies, and sprawling ivy designed to look like untamed nature. But in winter, it reveals its true skeleton. It is a garden of iron and ice. Every branch is encased in a thin sleeve of frost, shining like diamonds in the pale, dying sunlight. You are here because even the snow must be orderly. You carry a heavy wooden broom and a bucket of sand. The master wishes to walk the perimeter before the sun sets, and his path must be clear. As you sweep the thin layer of frost from the stone benches, feel the silence of the outdoors. It is different from the silence inside the house. Inside, the silence is watchful, heavy with the presence of others. But here, under the vast, bruised sky, the silence is indifferent. The trees don't care about your rank. The wind doesn't ask for a reference. For a few minutes, you are alone. Truly alone. Pause. Lean against the cold iron of the garden gate. Look at the mansion from the outside. From here, it looks like a fortress. A massive, gray beast of stone that has swallowed your life. You see the flickering yellow lights in the windows of the drawing room, and the tiny, dim specks of light in the attic where you sleep. It is a grand sight, but to you, it is just the place that owns your time. The cold is beginning to seep through your thin shawl. Your fingers, already raw from the laundry, are turning a ghostly, waxy white. But you find you don't mind the chill as much as you thought. The air is clean. It doesn't smell of coal or soot. It smells of nothing, a pure, empty cold that feels like it's washing your lungs. You move to the orangery, the glass house that stands like a crystal palace at the edge of the lawn. Inside, it is a different world. A trapped summer. Step inside. The smell of damp earth and exotic greenery hits you. Here, in the middle of a New York winter, there are orange trees and ferns from lands you will only ever see on a map. This is the ultimate luxury of 1885. Defying the seasons. You are here to check the flues. The fires that heat the orangery must be kept at a constant temperature. If the plants freeze, it is your failure. You kneel in the dirt, the damp soil staining your apron. You check the small iron doors of the furnace. While you are there, you touch a leaf. A large, tropical leaf that feels like cool silk. It is so strange to see something so green and alive while the world outside is gray and dead. For a second, you close your eyes and imagine you are in that far-off land. A place where the sun is always warm, and there are no bells to answer. But the dream is short. The sun is sinking faster now, dropping behind the silhouettes of the bare oak trees. The garden is being swallowed by long, violet shadows. You must finish the path. Sweep, sweep, sweep. You notice a single bird, a small, dark sparrow, huddled on a frozen branch. It looks as tired as you feel. You reach into your pocket and find a few crumbs of bread you saved from your meager lunch. You scatter them on the stone. It is a tiny act of kindness, the only thing you have to give. The bird doesn't thank you, but it eats. And in that moment, you feel a connection to something that isn't made of stone or silver. The solitude of the garden is beginning to feel heavy now. The wind is picking up, whistling through the empty iron gazebos. It sounds like a low, mournful flute. The cold is no longer refreshing, it is dangerous. Your toes are numb, and your ears are beginning to throb. You pick up your bucket and broom. It is time to return to the beast. As you walk back toward the service entrance, you look up at the sky. The first star is out. A tiny, piercing point of light in the deep blue. 1885 feels very small in that moment. The mansion feels small. Even your exhaustion feels small compared to the vastness of the night. You reach the door. You pause, one hand on the cold brass handle. This is the boundary. Once you step through, the garden is gone. The solitude is gone. You will become a function again. Take one last deep breath of the freezing air. Let it fill you. Clack. The door closes behind you. The warmth of the basement hits you like a wall, but it feels stale. You are back in the world of orders and duty. The housekeeper is in the hallway. The master is back from his walk, she says sharply. He complained of frost on the west bench. See that it doesn't happen again. You bow your head. Yes, ma'am. The garden did not protect you. It was just another room without a roof. Your hands are beginning to burn as they thaw out in the heat of the hallway. It's a painful, itching fire. You rub them together, trying to bring the blood back to the surface. But there is no time to nurse the pain. The afternoon is over. The blue hour has arrived, and with it, the lighting of the lamps. The house is preparing for its evening mask. The velvet curtains are being drawn. The gas is being hissed into the pipes. And you must move from the frozen garden to the world of shadows and light. The master's study is next. The room where the heavy books and the heavier secrets live. Stay with me. The night is coming, and the mansion is about to reveal its true face. The bell is ringing from the second floor. A long, demanding peal. The solitude is over. The service continues. The frost is still on your shawl, melting into tiny drops of water. Forget the sky. Forget the stars. Look at the floor. Move. Step back inside and feel the door of the garden click shut behind you. The transition from the frozen, open sky to the enclosed world of the mansion is always jarring. Your skin prickles as the heat of the house rushes to meet the chill of your clothes. But we are not going back to the kitchen just yet. We are ascending the stairs once more, moving toward the west wing, toward the master's study. In 1885, this room is the inner sanctum. It is the place where the maps of empires are studied, where fortunes are won and lost on a sheet of parchment, and where the true weight of the Gilded Age resides. As you approach the heavy mahogany double doors, notice how the air changes. The smell of the hallway, wax and dust, gives way to something deeper, something more ancient. It is the scent of the study. Old leather bindings, the dry, sweet dust of thousand-year-old ideas, the lingering smoke of expensive Turkish tobacco, and the faint, bitter aroma of iron gall ink. Open the door slowly. It is heavy, moving with a silent, well-oiled dignity. The room is bathed in a dim, amber light. The winter sun has almost disappeared, leaving only a thin, bruised purple line on the horizon, visible through the tall, arched windows. The shadows here are long, stretching out from the massive floor-to-ceiling bookshelves like the fingers of a giant. You are here to perform the twilight reset, a ritual of silence and precision. First, the fire. You walk softly across the thick, Persian rug. It swallows the sound of your footsteps, making you feel even more like a ghost than usual. You kneel before the grate. The fire you built in the morning has burned down to a pile of glowing, ruby embers. You take the brass tongs, and one by one, you add fresh coal. Clink. Hiss. You fan the sparks until a small, blue flame licks at the new fuel. As you wait for the fire to take hold, look up at the walls. Thousands of books. Gold-embossed spines in crimson, forest green, and midnight blue. They stand in perfect rows, an army of knowledge. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to reach out and pull one from the shelf? To sit in that high-backed leather chair, to open a cover, and to let your eyes wander across the printed word? For you, in 1885, these books are not stories or philosophy. They are objects to be dusted. They are a landscape you are forbidden to explore. In this room, the inequality of your world is written in ink. The master possesses the thoughts of the greatest minds in history, while you possess only the strength of your back and the silence of your tongue. You rub a soft silk cloth over the edge of a desk. Swipe, swipe. The wood is so dark and polished it looks like a deep, still pool of water. Your hand brushes against a stack of papers. Letters with wax seals, telegrams, ledgers filled with neat, slanted handwriting. You are not supposed to read them. You are trained to look without seeing. But sometimes, your eyes catch a word. London. Investment. Regret. These are the fragments of a life lived in the light. A life where words have power. You wonder if the master ever thinks about the woman who cleans his inkwell. Does he know that you have a name? Does he know that you once had a book of your own, a small, tattered prayer book that you keep hidden under your mattress in the attic? Likely not. To him, you are simply a shadow that ensures his pen is always full and his fire is always bright. Now, the lighting of the lamps. This is a delicate task. The glass chimneys are fragile, thinner than an eggshell. You take a long, wooden match. Scritch. The smell of phosphorus fills the air for a second. You touch the flame to the wick of the desk lamp. Watch the light grow. It's a soft, warm, golden glow that pushes back the purple shadows of the evening. It illuminates the dust motes dancing in the air, the tiny, silver ghosts of the room. The green glass shade of the lamp casts a verdant hue over the papers, making the desk look like a forest floor. You move to the globe in the corner. It is a massive thing, made of silk and wood. You give it a gentle, secret push. It spins slowly on its axis. Whir. You see the continents pass by. Africa. Asia, the vast blue of the Pacific. For a moment, you feel a strange sense of vertigo. The world is so big, so filled with possibilities, yet your world is bounded by these 4 walls, these 20 rooms, these narrow stairs. The globe stops. Your finger rests on a tiny speck in the ocean. You pull your hand back quickly. You mustn't touch. You must only clean. The silence in the study is different from the silence in the kitchen. In the kitchen, the silence is filled with the pressure of work. Here, the silence is heavy with the pressure of history. The ancestors in the oil paintings on the wall look down at you with cold, judgmental eyes. They are the ones who built this world. They are the ones who decided that some should lead, and some should follow. You pick up the waste paper basket. It's made of woven wicker. Inside are the discarded drafts of the master's thoughts. Crumpled papers, torn envelopes. You carry them away, the literal refuse of his intellect. As you prepare to leave, you take one last look around the room. The fire is crackling now, a steady, rhythmic sound. Snap, pop, hiss. The lamp is glowing. The pens are aligned. The room is ready for the master to return from his walk. It is a perfect stage for a powerful man. You step back toward the door, your feet making no sound on the rug. You feel a strange, hollow ache in your chest. It's not just physical exhaustion anymore. It's the weight of the things you will never know. The conversations you will never have. The books you will never read. In 1885, knowledge is the ultimate wall. And you are standing on the wrong side of it. You pull the door shut, the heavy mahogany latch clicking into place with a final, solid thud. The study is sealed. The sanctuary is prepared. You are back in the hallway, where the shadows are deeper now, and the gas lamps are beginning to hiss as they are lit for the night. The evening is descending. The house is shifting from the world of business and study to the world of dinner and display. Your back is aching again, a sharp, biting pain between your shoulder blades. But you cannot stop. The dressing bells will soon ring. The family will need their clothes, their buttons, their laces. You move down the hall, a ghost passing through a museum of wealth. The invisible world is about to face its busiest hour. The hour of the grand display. Stay with me. The night is young, and the secrets of the mansion are only beginning to wake. Can you hear it? The distant, muffled sound of a piano being tuned in the parlor. The stage is set. And the service, as always, goes on. The smell of leather stays with you for a few moments. A memory of a world you cannot touch. Keep your head down. The next bell is ringing. It is the call for the dressing room. Move. The quiet of the master's study is behind you now, and the blue hour has deepened into a solid, velvet blackness outside the mansion walls. But inside, the house is beginning to glow with a feverish, artificial light. We are descending once more, moving toward the great dining room. In 1885, the dinner table is not just a place to eat. It is an altar of social standing. It is the ultimate test of the house's discipline. As you push open the double doors, the sheer scale of the room swallows you. The table is a massive island of mahogany, stretching 30 feet down the center of the room. Right now, it is bare, a dark, polished surface that reflects the flickering gaslight of the chandeliers like a black mirror. But it will not remain bare for long. First comes the silent cloth. You and Sarah stand at opposite ends of the table. Together, you unfurl a thick, heavy layer of green felt. It is called the silent cloth because its only job is to muffle the sound of the plates and the silver. In the world of the elite, the mechanics of the meal must be silent. No clatter, no thud, only the soft, ghost-like movements of the service. Then, the damask. Imagine a single, unbroken sheet of white linen, 30 feet long. It has been ironed for hours in the laundry room you visited earlier. It is so white it looks like a field of fresh snow. You and the other maids lift it together, moving in a synchronized dance. You must lay it so perfectly that the center crease runs exactly down the middle of the table, straight as an arrow, not a single wrinkle, not a single stray thread. If the cloth is crooked by a fraction of an inch, the butler will see it. And if he sees it, the work begins again. Feel the texture of the linen under your fingers. It is cool, stiff with starch, and smells faintly of lavender and hot iron. Now, the geometry of the table begins. In 1885, setting a table for a banquet is a mathematical exercise. The butler stands at the head of the table, holding a measuring stick. Yes, a ruler made of ebony and brass. Each place setting must be exactly 24 inches apart. Each fork must be exactly 1 inch from the edge of the table. You follow behind him, placing the service plates. These are heavy, gold-rimmed porcelain. Chink, chink, chink. You place them with a rhythmic precision. You don't just put them down, you set them, ensuring the family crest at the top of the plate is perfectly aligned with the chair. Next comes the silver. The spoons and forks you spent the afternoon polishing until your arms ached. Now you must handle them with white cotton gloves. You cannot leave a single fingerprint. Think of the variety of silver before you. Soup spoons, fish knives, meat forks, salad forks, fruit knives. A forest of silver, arranged in the order of their use, moving from the outside in. Each piece of silver is a barrier. It is a code. If a guest doesn't know which fork to use, they do not belong in this world. And if you place the wrong fork, you do not belong in this house. The glasses are next. Crystal. Thin as a dragonfly's wing. There are 5 for every person. 1 for water, 1 for sherry, 1 for white wine, 1 for red, and 1 for the champagne. As you set them, the light from the chandelier catches the facets of the crystal. The table begins to sparkle, as if it is being covered in a layer of diamonds. The room is becoming crowded now, but it remains silent. The footmen are bringing in the centerpieces. Massive silver urns filled with hothouse flowers, orchids and lilies that smell too sweet, almost like a funeral. They are surrounded by bowls of fruit, grapes dusted with sugar, pineapples imported from the tropics, things that are meant to be looked at, but rarely eaten. Then, the candles. 60 of them in the central chandelier. 20 more in the silver candelabras on the table. You move from one to another with a long taper. Scritch. Watch the flames take hold. The room transforms. The gaslight is harsh, but the candlelight is soft, forgiving, and magical. It makes the silver glow like liquid moonlight. It makes the crystal dance. But for you, the candlelight only reveals more work. You see a tiny speck of lint on a napkin. You whisk it away with a frantic, silent flick of your wrist. The heat in the room is rising. The candles, the gas, the proximity of so many bodies moving in a small space. You can feel the sweat beginning to prickle at your hairline, under your stiff cap. But you must not wipe it. You must not show any sign of human frailty. Look at the butler. He is the conductor of this silent orchestra. He stands by the sideboard, his eyes moving over the table like a general reviewing his troops. He sees everything. He sees the slight tilt of a wine glass. He sees the way a footman is standing too close to a chair. He makes a tiny, almost invisible gesture with his hand. The mistake is corrected instantly. The tension in the room is thick, you could cut it with one of those sharp steak knives. This is the grand display. In 30 minutes, the doors will open. The family and their guests will sweep in, smelling of perfume and pomade. They will sit down, they will talk, they will laugh, and they will consume a 12-course meal that has taken 3 days to prepare. And you will stand in the shadows. You will be the one to whisk away the empty plates. You will be the one to pour the wine without spilling a single drop on that snow-white cloth. You will be the one to anticipate a guest's need before they even know they have it. Think about the contrast. In the kitchen, there is fire, grease, and the shouting of the cook. In this room, there is only grace, light, and the illusion of ease. You are the bridge between the two. You are the one who ensures the chaos of the basement never touches the serenity of the dining room. Your back is screaming. Your feet feel like they are being pressed into hot coals. But you stand straight. You have been trained to endure. In 1885, endurance is the primary virtue of your class. The final check. The butler walks the length of the table one last time. The measuring stick is gone. Now he uses only his eye. He reaches the end. He looks at you. For a split second, you see the exhaustion in his eyes too. The shared burden of the invisible. Then the mask returns. Stiff, formal, cold. Ready, he whispers. The word ripples through the staff. The footmen take their positions behind the chairs. The maids retreat to the sideboard, blending into the shadows of the heavy velvet curtains. The house is silent again. A predatory silence. And then, from the hallway, the sound of laughter. The rustle of heavy silk. The upstairs is coming. The banquet is about to begin. Stay with me. The light is blinding, but the shadows are where the real story happens. The doors are opening. The performance is live. Don't breathe. Just serve. The scent of lilies is overwhelming. The silver is waiting to be touched. The invisible world is holding its breath. Move to your station. The doors have opened. The transition is complete. The cold, silent vacuum of the dining room has been filled with the sudden, overwhelming warmth of human life, of wealth, and of noise. But you have retreated. You have found your place in the shadows. Imagine yourself standing exactly 3 feet behind the master's chair. Your hands are clasped behind your back, your chin is tilted slightly down, and your eyes are fixed on a point precisely 4 inches above the master's head. This is the servant's stance. You are there to be used, but never to be seen. The room is a blur of sensory overload. The scent of the lilies we placed earlier is now battling with the aroma of roasted venison, truffle sauce, and the sharp, acidic tang of vintage champagne. The light from the 80 candles is no longer a soft glow, it is a shimmering heat that makes the diamonds around the ladies' necks flash with a terrifying intensity. Flicker, flash, sparkle. Listen to the sound of the upstairs. It isn't just talking. It is a roar of cultivated voices. The high-pitched, musical laughter of the debutantes, the deep, gravelly rumblings of the industrialists, the rhythmic clatter of silver against porcelain. Clink, chime, rustle. To them, it is a celebration. To you, it is a countdown of courses. You are a ghost at a feast you helped build. Now comes the dance of service. The butler gives a microscopic nod. It is the signal for the first course. You move. You don't walk, you flow. You approach the guest from the left. Feel the heat radiating from their bodies. You can smell the lavender water on the lady's skin. You can see the fine, golden hairs on the back of the gentleman's hand. As you lower the silver tray to offer the soup, your heart is pounding a steady, rhythmic drum against your ribs. Your muscles are screaming from the weight of the silver, but your hand must be as steady as a mountain. If a single drop of that consommé splashes onto the white damask, the evening is ruined for you. The guest takes their portion without ever looking at you. They continue their conversation about the railroad strikes in the West or the new opera house, speaking as if you were a statue, a mechanical device made of flesh and black wool. You retract the tray. You fade back into the shadows. This is the dining room shadow. It is a strange, psychological space. You are privy to the most intimate secrets of the powerful. You hear the hushed, desperate whisper of a daughter pleading with her father to call off an engagement. You hear the corrupt deal being made over a glass of port, where thousands of lives will be changed by a single signature. In 1885, the dining room is the true seat of government. And you are the silent recorder. Sometimes, a guest will glance in your direction. For a split second, your eyes might almost meet. But then, the shutter falls. Their gaze slides off you as if you were made of oil. They don't see a person with a family in Ireland or a sister in the coal mines. They see a function. They see a uniform. How does it feel to be a ghost in a room full of light? The heat is becoming oppressive. The candles are beginning to weep, long tears of wax dripping down the silver candelabras. The air is thick with the steam of the food and the heavy, humid breath of 30 people. You feel a bead of sweat beginning to crawl down your spine, beneath the layers of your stiff uniform. You cannot move. You cannot scratch. You must remain an icon of stillness. Course follows course. The fish. The roast. The game. The sorbet to cleanse the palate. Between each one, you move in a blur of silent efficiency. You clear the plates. You use a small silver crumber to whisk away the tiny fragments of bread from the cloth. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Your eyes are always searching. You watch for the empty wine glass. You watch for the dropped napkin. You watch for the signal from the butler. You are a predator of service, stalking the needs of the elite. Look at the scraps of food being sent back to the kitchen. A piece of pheasant barely touched. A whole truffle discarded. You think of the scullery maid downstairs, eating her cold gruel. You think of your own stomach, which has been a hollow, gnawing ache since 5 a.m. The injustice of the room is so thick you could taste it, but you swallow it down. In 1885, resentment is a luxury you cannot afford. The grand display is reaching its climax. The dessert. A towering construction of spun sugar and gold leaf that looks more like architecture than food. The guests gasp in delight. They applaud the master's taste. They don't applaud the cook who hasn't sat down in 12 hours. They don't applaud the maids whose lungs are full of the sugar dust from the kitchen. The light is beginning to change. Some of the candles have burned out, leaving behind thin, spiraling ribbons of gray smoke. The room is becoming dimmer, the shadows deeper. The conversation has turned from business to gossip, the laughter louder, more careless. You stand by the sideboard, watching the great machine wind down. Your feet are no longer aching, they have gone completely numb. You feel as though you are floating, disconnected from the marble floor. The exhaustion is so deep it has become a form of meditation. The butler signals for the coffee and the liqueurs. The ladies begin to stand, the rustle of their silk dresses sounding like a wave breaking on a beach. Shh! They are moving to the drawing room, leaving the men to their cigars and their secrets. As they leave, the room feels suddenly empty, despite the men still sitting at the table. The energy has shifted. The performance is almost over. You move to clear the main table. The wreckage of the banquet is everywhere. Stained napkins, spilled wine, the skeletons of the pheasants. The Gilded Age is messy when it's finished. You pick up a crystal glass. It's stained with a ring of red wine. You hold it up to the dying candlelight. It is beautiful and broken, just like the house itself. You hear the master laugh, a deep, booming sound that vibrates in the air. He is happy. The evening was a success. His status has been confirmed. And you? You are just the shadow that will clean the glass. The night is pressing in against the windows. The world outside is a frozen wasteland, but here, in the dining room, the fire is still warm. But for how long? Stay with me in the shadows for a moment more. Listen to the fading voices. Feel the weight of the silence that follows the feast. The service is shifting again. From the light of the banquet to the darkness of the cleanup. The most grueling hours are yet to come. The ghosts must now dismantle the dream they just created. Don't close your eyes yet. The day is far from done. The bell from the drawing room is ringing. They want their tea. Move, shadow. Move. The smell of tobacco and expensive wine lingers. A ghost's work is never finished. Follow the rustle of the silk. Into the next room. The banquet has moved to its next stage. The guests are lost in their liqueurs and laughter, and for a fleeting moment, you find yourself in the narrow service corridor. Lean your back against the wood. Feel the weight of what you are wearing. In 1885, a uniform was not just clothing. It was a cage. It was a deliberate architecture of fabric designed to remind you, every second of every day, exactly who you were, and more importantly, who you were not. Take a deep breath. Can you? If you are a housemaid, the answer is no. Underneath that crisp, white apron and the black wool dress, there is the corset. It is a construction of canvas and whalebone, or perhaps steel, laced so tightly that your ribs feel like they are being held in a permanent, icy grip. It forces your spine into an unnatural, rigid line. It pushes your breath up into the very top of your lungs, making every movement a calculated effort of oxygen. Think about the irony of it. You are required to perform the most grueling physical labor, scrubbing floors, carrying coal, lifting heavy furniture, all while encased in a garment that prevents you from breathing deeply. When you feel faint, when the heat of the kitchen or the pressure of the dining room becomes too much, you cannot simply sit and recover. The corset won't allow you to slump. You must remain upright. You must remain perfect. And then, the collar. That stiff, starched white band around your neck. In 1885, starch was a weapon of discipline. The collar is so sharp, so rigid, that if you turn your head too quickly, it bites into your skin. It keeps your chin tilted up. It keeps your gaze forward. It prevents the casual, relaxed movements of a free person. You are a soldier of the domestic world, and your armor is made of lace and linen. Look down at your apron. It is blindingly white, a stark contrast to the dark shadows of your existence. To the family upstairs, that whiteness represents purity and order. To you, it is a constant source of anxiety. A single drop of soup, a smear of soot, a stray thread, and the uniform is broken. And when the uniform is broken, the servant is broken. You spend your nights washing this apron, your mornings starching it, and your days fearing for its cleanliness. The fabric itself, the black wool. It is heavy. It holds the heat of the kitchen and the cold of the hallways. It smells faintly of the lye soap used to scrub it, and the lavender used to hide the scent of your own exhaustion. After 15 hours, it feels like it weighs 100 pounds. It drags at your waist, it pulls at your shoulders. It is a physical manifestation of your burden. And your cap. That small, frivolous-looking piece of lace pinned to your hair. It is the badge of the invisible. As long as you wear that cap, you are not Mary, or Elizabeth, or Rose. You are the maid. It hides your hair, it frames your face in a way that makes you look like every other girl in the house. It is a tool of erasure. Have you ever looked at your hands against the dark fabric of your skirt? They look so pale, so worn. The contrast is a reminder of the life you lead. The dark wool of the servant, the white linen of the master. In 1885, your color palette is limited to the shadows. Think about the shoes. Thin-soled, black leather boots. They were not made for comfort. They were made for silence. By now, at the end of the day, your feet are swollen, the leather pinching at your toes, the arches of your feet throbbing with a rhythmic, pulsing pain. Thump, thump, thump. Every step is a test of your will. But the shoes must not scuff. They must not click. You must glide, even when you feel like you are walking on broken glass. The weight of the uniform is more than just the fabric. It is the weight of the expectations pinned to it. When you put it on at 5 a.m., you are putting on a character. You are stepping into a role that requires you to have no opinions, no desires, no voice. The uniform is a shield that protects the family from your humanity. They don't want to see your tiredness. They don't want to see your illness. They want to see the service. Imagine standing in the hallway, as we did before, as a ghost. The only reason they don't see you is because the uniform is so familiar that it becomes part of the background. You are as invisible as the wallpaper, as unremarkable as the umbrella stand. If you were to wear a red dress, or a silk scarf, they would see you instantly. But the black and white is a camouflage of the soul. Sometimes, in the deep of the night, when you are finally back in your attic room, you unlace the corset. Pause. Hear the sound of the laces loosening. Creak, hiss. Feel the sudden, almost painful rush of air into your lungs. Your ribs expand for the first time in 18 hours. It is a sensation that is almost overwhelming. For a few minutes, as you peel off the heavy wool and the stiff collar, you are just a human being again. You are skin and bone, breath and blood. But even then, the uniform has left its mark. There are red welts on your waist from the stays. There is a line around your neck from the starch. There is a permanent ache in your back from the rigid posture. The uniform stays with you, even when you are naked in the dark. In 1885, you are never truly out of uniform. Even in your dreams, you are answering bells. Even in your prayers, you are straightening napkins. The house owns your body, and the uniform is the deed. Now, lean your head back against the wall. Listen to the distant music from the parlor. A piano is playing a waltz. The guests are dancing, their silk dresses flowing, their bodies free to move, to bend, to breathe. You look at your own stiff, black sleeve. You are the shadow that makes their light possible. The weight is heavy tonight. Heavier than usual. Perhaps it's the cold, or the long banquet, or the look the master gave you when you were a second too slow with the wine. The invisible world is starting to fray at the edges. But you cannot fall. The corset won't let you. The starch won't let you. You push yourself away from the wall. You straighten your cap in the reflection of a darkened window. You adjust your apron. The mask is back on. The cage is locked. The service continues. You must return to the drawing room. The coffee service is beginning. The ghosts must be perfectly dressed for the end of the world. Stay with me. The night is moving into its deepest hour. And the weight is something we all must carry. The bell is ringing. Can you feel the pull of the wire? It's time to go back. The fabric rustles as you move. A sound of imprisonment. But you walk with grace. Because you are the heart of the house. Even if they never see the pulse. The laughter from the banquet is now a faint, ghostly echo, a world away. We are descending again. Further down than the kitchen, past the coal stores, to the dampest, coldest corner of the 1885 mansion. The scullery. If the kitchen is the heart of the house, the scullery is its gut. A place of stone, steam, and the relentless sound of running water. Open the heavy, damp, swollen door. The smell hits you instantly. A thick, cloying mixture of stale grease, rotting vegetable scraps, and the sharp, medicinal sting of lye soap. Here, the gaslight doesn't dance, it flickers weakly, struggling against the heavy vapor that rises from the stone sinks. Look to the corner. There she is. The scullery maid. In the hierarchy of the invisible, she is the lowest. She is often the youngest, a girl of 14 or 15 who has forgotten what the sun looks like. Her face is a mask of exhaustion, pale and slick with sweat and steam. But it is her hands you must notice. Her hands are no longer the hands of a young girl. They are white, puckered, and swollen from being submerged in boiling water and caustic soda for 16 hours a day. The skin is cracked across the knuckles, small, red canyons that never have time to heal. To the people upstairs, these hands don't exist. But without them, the silver wouldn't shine, and the porcelain would be stained with the reality of the meal. Listen to the rhythm of this room. Slosh, scrub, clatter. Slosh, scrub, clatter. Before her lies a mountain of black work. The massive copper pots, the heavy cast iron kettles, the roasting pans encrusted with burnt fat and gristle. She does not use a soft cloth. She uses a handful of coarse sand and a brush made of stiff, biting bristles. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound is grating, a physical vibration that echoes off the wet stone walls. Think about the physical toll. She has been kneeling or standing on this cold, wet flagstone floor since before dawn. Her boots are soaked through. Her apron is a heavy, sodden weight against her knees. Every pot she lifts weighs 20 pounds or more. Her back is a constant, screaming ache, a dull fire that never goes out. In 1885. This is the hidden price of elegance. For every silk dress upstairs, there is a girl in the basement whose lungs are filling with the steam of lye. For every fine wine poured, there is a bucket of greasy water being hauled across a dark floor. The scullery is the great leveler. Here, the remnants of the banquet are stripped away. The bones of the pheasant, the rinds of the imported lemons, the congealed sauces that cost more than her family's cottage. She sees it all. She handles the waste of the Gilded Age. She knows exactly how much the rich consume, and how much they throw away. Sometimes, the silence of the scullery is broken by the clatter of more dishes being brought down. No words are exchanged. The kitchen maids drop the loads and vanish back to the warmth of the range. The scullery maid doesn't look up. Her world is the sink. Her horizon is the edge of a copper pot. Imagine the loneliness of this hour. It is past midnight. The rest of the staff is beginning to finish their duties, but for her, the mountain of grease is still high. The water in her sink is gray and oily, a miniature sea of filth. She plunges her arms in, deep to the elbows. The heat is scalding, but her skin has gone numb. As she scrubs, perhaps she thinks of the village she left behind. A place where the air smelled of salt and grass, not of old fat and soda. She wonders if she will ever be more than a scullery ghost. But the thought is a luxury. In 1885, hope is a heavy thing, and she is already carrying too much weight. Look at the walls. The condensation is dripping down the stone like slow, cold tears. Drip, drip, drip. The room is breathing with her. A slow, wet, labored breath. She finishes a pot. She holds it up to the flickering light. It must be perfect. If a single spot of grease remains, the cook will scream. If the copper doesn't gleam, the butler will report her. The pot is clean. She places it on the rack with a heavy, metallic thud. 1 down. 50 to go. The night is so deep now that even the rats in the cellars have gone quiet. There is only her, the water, and the stone. This is the foundation of the mansion. This is the truth that the velvet curtains and the gold leaf try to hide. Stay with me here, in the damp dark. Feel the humidity in your own lungs. Listen to the persistent, lonely sound of the scrubbing brush. This is the sacrifice of the invisible. The scullery maid is the house's silent martyr. When you see the sun tomorrow, remember this room. Remember the girl whose hands are white with lye so that the world above can be white with linen. The water is draining now. A gurgling, sucking sound in the dark. The work is never truly done. It only pauses until the first bell of the morning. The steam is settling. The girl leans against the sink, her eyes closing for just a heartbeat. In the silence, the house feels like a tomb. We must move on. The torn-down service is waiting. From the grease of the basement to the silk of the bedchamber. The cycle continues. The house has finally, truly, exhaled. The grand banquet guests have departed into the freezing night, their carriage wheels long since muffled by the falling snow. The masters have retired to their silk-draped beds, and the servants, most of them, have crawled into their narrow cots in the attic. But the house is never truly alone. Now, we join the night watch. Imagine the darkness of the 1885 mansion at 3 a.m. It is not a hollow darkness, it is a heavy, living thing. You are the one left behind to breathe with the stone. In your hand, you hold a single, steady, beeswax candle. Look at the flame. A tiny, flickering spear of gold in a sea of obsidian. It throws long, distorted shadows against the wood-paneled corridors. Shadows that seem to dance and stretch, as if the history of the house is trying to detach itself from the walls. Your footsteps are gone. You are wearing soft, felt-bottomed slippers, and you move with the practiced grace of a shadow. Slide, pause, slide. The only sound in the entire estate is the rhythmic, mechanical heart of the house. The clocks. In the great hall, the grandfather clock stands like a silent sentinel. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. In the silence, the sound is deafening. It feels as though the house is counting down the seconds of the century. You hold your candle aloft, checking the locks on the massive oak doors. The cold air from the keyhole whistles a low, mournful tune, a reminder of the winter wasteland just inches away. You are the guardian of this wealth. Think of the irony. You own nothing in this room. Not the silver, not the paintings, not even the air you breathe. Yet, for these few hours, you are the master of it all. The family is vulnerable, asleep in their dreams, and the safety of their lives rests in the steady glow of your candle. Move down the long gallery. The portraits of the ancestors watch you pass. Their painted eyes seem to follow the light of your flame. In the day, they are symbols of power. In the night, they are ghosts trapped in oil. You see a smudge on the frame of a 17th century landscape. You reach out, almost touching it, then pull your hand back. Even in the dark, you are a servant. Even when no one is watching, the rules remain. The house is full of settling sounds. Eek. A floorboard groans under the weight of the cold. Pop. A cooling joist snaps in the ceiling. To a stranger, these sounds are terrifying. To you, they are the house talking in its sleep. You know every groan. You know the difference between the wind in the chimney and a stray coal falling in the grate. Now, you move toward the forbidden spaces. The library, the study, the drawing room. In the drawing room, the scent of the evening's lilies has turned heavy and sickly, like the smell of a tomb. The flowers are wilting in the dark, their petals curling at the edges. You walk past the piano. The lid is closed, but you can almost hear the ghost of the waltz that was played hours ago. The silence here is thick, layered with the echoes of laughter that hasn't quite faded into the floorboards. You find a stray glove, left behind by a guest on a velvet sofa. You pick it up. It is made of the finest kidskin, soft as a baby's breath. You hold it for a moment. It still carries the faint warmth of a hand, and the scent of expensive perfume. For a second, you wonder about the person who wore it. Did they sleep well tonight? Do they have the same fears that keep you awake? You place it neatly on the side table. The ghost of the guest is put back in its place. Your candle is burning lower. The wax is dripping down the brass holder, warm and sticky against your thumb. The heat is a comfort in the drafty hall. You reach the master's stair. You are not supposed to be here, but the night watchman must see all. You ascend, slowly, your candle casting a ring of light onto the thick, plush carpet. Here, the silence is different. It is the silence of the protected. Behind these doors, the masters of the 19th century are dreaming of gold and progress. You stand outside the master's bedchamber. You hear his heavy, rhythmic breathing through the wood. It is a human sound. Stripped of his suits, his titles, and his power, he is just a man, breathing the same air as you, fighting the same darkness. For a moment, the hierarchy vanishes. There is only the breath and the candle. But the candle flickers. A draft from the attic stairs reminds you of your place. You descend back to the service world. As you pass the green baize door, you feel the temperature drop. The luxury of the upper floors stays behind. Here, in the stone corridors of the basement, the darkness is colder, more honest. You walk past the kitchen. The great range is a giant, gray beast, cold and silent for the first time in 20 hours. The copper pots on the walls catch the light of your candle, glowing like a row of setting suns. You find a seat on a hard wooden stool in the pantry. Just for a moment. The house is at its quietest now. The hour between the end of the night and the beginning of the morning. In 1885. This is the hour of the soul. You look at the flame of your candle. It is so small, so fragile. If you were to blow it out, the entire mansion would vanish into the black. The wealth, the silver, the portraits, all of it would cease to exist until the sun returned to name them again. You feel the night watchman's loneliness. It's a quiet, steady ache. The knowledge that you are the only one awake to witness the house in its true form. Without the masks. Without the performance. The house is just a hollow shell of stone and wood, waiting for the people to return and give it a reason to be. Suddenly, a sound. A distant, sharp crack from the garden outside. A tree limb breaking under the weight of the snow? Or something else? You stand up, your candle trembling slightly. You move toward the window. You wipe a circle of frost from the glass with your sleeve. Outside, the world is a blur of white and gray. The snow is falling in thick, silent flakes, burying the garden, burying the gates, burying the world you once knew. The mansion is an island in a white sea. And you are the light at its center. Stay with me in this deepest part of the night. The candle is short, but the dawn is still far away. Listen to the house settling into its bones. Hear the clocks counting down the end of the dark. You are the witness. You are the keeper. The night watch continues. The flame is dancing in the draft. The wax is cold on your hand. The house is breathing, and so are you. Wait for the first light. It's coming. The night watchman's candle has burned down to a mere stub, a small puddle of wax in a brass holder. The mansion is caught in that liminal space, the hour of the wolf, where the night is at its deepest, yet the first invisible tremors of dawn are beginning to vibrate through the frozen earth. Most are asleep, but you are sitting at the edge of your narrow cot in the attic. In 1885. A servant's life was public, yet entirely solitary. Your body belongs to the house, but your mind is a territory you guard with a fierce, quiet desperation. Reach under your thin, straw-stuffed mattress. Feel the cold, rough surface of the floorboards until your fingers find it. A small, battered tin box. Open it slowly. Click. The sound is sharp in the freezing silence of the room. Inside, there are no jewels. There are no coins. There are only scraps of paper. The letters never sent. In the Victorian era, the post was the only bridge between the world you lived in and the world you loved. But for a servant, a stamp is a luxury, and the time to write is a sin. You pull out a sheet of paper, yellowed at the edges, stolen months ago from the back of an old ledger. Imagine the scene. You are huddled in your shawl, your breath rising in a rhythmic, white fog. Your fingers are stiff from the cold and the day's labor, but you pick up the stub of a pencil. You begin to write. Not to the master, not to the housekeeper, but to someone who exists only in your memory. My dearest mother, or perhaps, my dear, distant brother. The words come slowly. They are not the words of a servant. They are the words of a daughter, a sister, a person with a history. You write about the snow, how it looks through the high attic window, like a white shroud over the world. You don't write about the soot. You don't write about the lye soap eating your skin. You write about the taste of the apples in the orchard back home, a taste you can still feel on your tongue if you close your eyes tight enough. Think about the weight of these unsent words. Every servant in this house has a box like this. In the room next to you, Sarah might be clutching a photograph of a child she hasn't seen in 3 years. Down the hall, the footman might be staring at a lock of hair from a girl who has surely forgotten his face by now. In 1885, to be in service was to be displaced. You were pulled from the soil, from the village, from the family, and placed into this stone machine. And the only way to survive was to keep a part of yourself hidden. You look at the words on the page. They are simple, honest, and utterly dangerous. If the housekeeper found this box, she would see it as a distraction. She would see it as proof that your heart is not in your work. In this house, your heart is supposed to be a muscle that pumps blood to your arms so you can scrub, nothing more. The candle flickers, almost dying. You lean closer to the light. You write about your dreams. Not the grand dreams of the masters upstairs, but the small, beautiful dreams of a life that is yours. A cottage with a door that stays shut. A fire that you build for yourself. A morning where no bell rings. The tragedy of the Victorian servant was not just the labor. It was the silence. You spend all day listening to the family. You hear their secrets, their scandals, their joys. But you can never speak your own. So you speak them to the paper. I am still here, you write. I am still the girl who ran through the meadows. I am not just a cap and an apron. As you write, you feel a strange, hollow ache in your chest. It is the exile's grief. The realization that even if you sent this letter, the person receiving it might not recognize the person you have become. The house changes you. It polishes away your rough edges, it silences your laughter, it makes you part of its architecture. You look at the other scraps in the box. Fragments of a life left behind. A pressed flower from a summer long gone, now brittle and gray. A button from your father's coat. These are your anchors. Without them, you would drift away into the shadows of the mansion and be lost forever. Hear the wind outside. It's howling against the eaves, a lonely, searching sound. It sounds like the voices of all the letters never sent, crying out to be heard. You fold the paper carefully. You don't have an envelope. You don't have a stamp. You put it back into the tin box. One day, you tell yourself, one day I will leave this place. One day, I will speak these words aloud. But today is not that day. The box goes back under the mattress. Thud. The secret is buried again. You lie back on the straw, pulling the thin, rough blanket up to your chin. Your body is exhausted, but your mind is still racing with the words you didn't write. The silence of the attic is absolute, yet it is full of the unspoken. Thousands of stories, thousands of lives, all contained within these stone walls, yet never recorded in the history books. The history of 1885 is written by the people who lived in the light. But the truth, the true, beating heart of the century, is found here, in the dark, in the tin boxes under the beds of the invisible. Think about the resilience of that hope. To keep writing, even when there is no one to read. To keep loving, even when you are alone. The cold is settling into your bones again. The fire in the kitchen is being lit, way down below. You can almost feel the vibration of the first match being struck. The dream time is over. The letter writer must become the servant again. Take a deep breath. Let the words settle into the back of your mind, where they will stay, safe and hidden, until the next midnight. The dawn is no longer a rumor. It is a pale, gray light creeping across the floorboards. The world of the upstairs is beginning to stir. And you must prepare to meet it. Stay with me in this fading dark. Feel the weight of the box under your bed. It is the only thing that is truly yours. The first bell of the day is about to ring. Can you hear it? Not the sound itself, but the tension in the wire? The letters are silent. But the life continues. The gray light is revealing the dust. The paper is hidden. The mask is ready. Rise. The letters have been tucked away, hidden beneath the straw of your mattress, safe for another night. But the night is not for sleeping. Not yet. In the grand estates of 1885, there is a window of time that belongs neither to the day that passed nor the morning to come. The hour of the deep clean. Step out of your room, back into the freezing darkness of the attic corridor. Your legs feel like leaden pillars, your eyes are scratchy and red from the lack of rest, but the house is waiting. Below you, the mansion is a silent giant, and you are the one tasked with tending to its skin, its bones, its silent surfaces. Descend the stairs. Eek. Eek. Every groan of the wood feels louder in the dead of night, echoing through the hollow shell of the house. We are going back to the drawing room. To the grand foyer. To the places where the light shone brightest only hours ago. Now, in the dark, they look different. The festive air is gone, replaced by a cold, stagnant dustiness. The smell of expensive perfume and roasted meat has been replaced by the smell of cold stone and dying embers. You are here to erase the night. To scrub away the evidence of the feast. Imagine the grand staircase. A sweeping curve of white marble and dark mahogany. During the day, it is a path for silk dresses and polished boots. Now, it is your workspace. You kneel at the top step. You have a bucket of warm water, a brush, and a block of hearthstone. Reach out. Dip the brush. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The sound is rhythmic, a lonely friction in the middle of a sleeping world. You move down, step by step. Backwards. Kneeling on the cold stone, scrubbing the marks of the day. A scuff from a gentleman's heel. A drop of wax from a passing candle. You are a ghost moving in reverse, undoing the history of the house. Think about the physical reality of this moment. Your knees are numb against the marble. Your hands, those same hands that were writing letters of love only moments ago, are now submerged in gray, gritty water. The water is cold now, a thin layer of ice slush beginning to form at the edges of the bucket. But you don't stop. You can't. The staircase must be pristine before the first sunbeam hits the foyer. Move to the foyer. The massive checkerboard floor of black and white marble. It looks like a giant chessboard where you are the only piece. You take a heavy waxcloth. You begin to polish. Slide, circular motion, slide. Your mind begins to wander in the rhythm of the work. You think about the people who walked on this floor today. The diplomats, the bankers, the debutantes. To them, this floor is just a surface. To you, it is a landscape. You know every crack in the marble. You know the exact spot where the light from the stained glass window hits the floor at noon. You know the house better than the people who own it, yet you own not a single grain of its dust. The silence of the house is absolute, yet it is alive. You hear the thrum of the wind against the chimney flues. You hear the scuttle of a mouse behind the wainscoting. Sometimes, you hear a sound from upstairs. A door closing, a muffled cough. The masters are stirring in their sleep, while you are wide awake, laboring in the shadows. How many miles have you traveled on your knees tonight? How much of your life has been spent looking at the floor? In 1885, a clean house was a moral imperative. If the floor was not bright, if the brass was not shining, it meant the house was falling. You are the one who prevents the fall. You are the invisible force that holds the decay at bay. Move to the brass fittings on the front door. Huge, heavy handles, and the letter box. They have been tarnished by the freezing night air. You pull out the polishing paste. The smell is sharp, biting into your sinuses. You rub. Rub, rub, rub. Watch as the dull, greenish metal begins to give way to a brilliant, golden glow. It is a small victory. A light you created in the middle of the dark. You see your reflection in the brass handle. It is distorted, wide, and tired. You look like a stranger to yourself. The night is beginning to thin. The darkness is no longer a solid black, it is turning into a deep, bruised purple. The late night cleaning is almost over. But the morning preparation is about to begin. There is no gap between the two. No bridge of rest. Only a shift in the nature of the labor. You pick up your bucket. The water is black now, thick with the dirt of 100 footsteps. You carry it to the service sink. Splay awash. The sound of the water draining away is the sound of the day being discarded. Your back is a solid wall of pain. Your fingers won't fully straighten. You stand by the window in the service hallway, looking out at the world. The snow has stopped. The world is a silent, white desert. The trees are stark, black skeletons against a graying sky. In a few minutes, the sky will turn that pale, sickly yellow that signals the return of the sun. The long night is ending. But for you, the end of the night is just the beginning of the struggle. Think about the cycle. Scrubbing the night to prepare for the day. Serving the day to prepare for the night. It is a circle without an exit. But there is a strange, quiet pride in it. The house is ready. The floors are mirrors. The brass is gold. The ash has been cleared, and the fires are being reborn. You have held the line. You have kept the fortress. As you walk back toward the kitchen, you hear the first sound of the morning. Clink. A coal scuttle being moved. The first servant has arrived in the basement. The machinery is starting to turn. The late night cleaning is done, and the ghosts of the night are retreating to the corners, making way for the laborers of the dawn. Stay with me, just for these last few minutes of shadow. Before the bells start their relentless dance. Feel the cold on your skin. Feel the ache in your bones. You have survived the dark. But the light is even more demanding. The first pale light is hitting the top of the stairs. The house is waking up. And you must never look tired. The bucket is empty. The floor is shining. The transition is here. Prepare for the first bell. It's almost time. The first light of 1885 is no longer a promise, it is a cold, gray reality bleeding through the frosted panes of the attic windows. The late-night cleaning is done. The floors are mirrors, the silver is starlight, and the house stands ready to perform its grand illusions for another day. But for you, for this one fragile moment, the world is slowing down. Ascend the stairs one last time. Not with the frantic energy of the morning, but with the heavy, rhythmic gait of a soldier returning from a long campaign. The back stairs are silent. The air here is thin and tastes of old wood and the lingering chill of the night. You reach your door. The small, wooden room at the very top of the world. Step inside. The room is tiny, a cell of stone and timber, but in this moment, it is a kingdom. Do not light a candle. Let the pale, pre-dawn light be enough. It softens the edges of the washstand, it blurs the cracks in the plaster, it makes the poverty of the room look like a sanctuary. Sit on the edge of the cot. Hear the straw mattress groan beneath you. See our eek rustle. Reach down and unlace your boots. Tug, pull, release. Feel the blood finally returning to your toes. It's a stinging, burning sensation, a reminder that you are still alive, still flesh and bone despite the porcelain mask you wore all day. Drop the boots onto the floor. Thud. Thud. The sound is muffled, but it feels like the loudest thing in the world. Now, the final ritual. The unpinning of the cap. Your fingers are clumsy with exhaustion, fumbling with the small, sharp pins. One by one, you set them on the nightstand. Clink, clink. Take off the cap. Feel your hair fall loose, a heavy weight against your neck. For the first time in 20 hours, your head feels light. Your identity is no longer pinned to your scalp. In the silence of this attic, the house feels different. Downstairs, it is a machine. Up here, it is a memory. You lie back. Slowly. Close your eyes. But the sleep does not come instantly. Instead, the day begins to play back behind your eyelids, like a magic lantern show. You see the flicker of the hearth fire. You hear the rhythmic clink of the silver spoons. You feel the weight of the laundry wringer. You see the master's face through the steam, the mistress's silk dress rustling like the sea. The sounds of the mansion are still in your ears. Ting, ting, ting. The ghost of the bells. Even in the silence, you find yourself waiting for the pull of the wire. Your muscles are coiled, ready to spring, ready to serve, even as your mind begins to drift into the gray. Think about the thousands of others lying in attics just like this one, all across the city, all across the world. A vast, silent army of the invisible, all closing their eyes at the same time, all breathing in the same cold, morning air. We are the heartbeat of the Gilded Age, the hidden pulse that makes the gold shine and the clocks tick. The house is settling. Eek. Is it the wind? Or is it the house itself, tired of its own grandeur, longing to be just stone and timber again? You feel yourself sinking. Not just into the mattress, but into the history of this place. You are becoming part of the dust you chased all day. You are part of the wax, the soot, the steam. The boundary between you and the mansion is dissolving. But listen. In the far, far distance, deep in the bowels of the basement, a sound begins. A door opening. A heavy iron pot being placed on a stove. The sound of a match being struck against stone. Scritch. The cycle is not ending. It is simply resetting. In 5 minutes, the first bell will ring. The morning maid will wake. The fires will be stoked. The water will be carried. The silver will be polished. And you will rise again. You will pin the cap back to your hair. You will lace the corset until your breath is shallow. You will put on the mask and become the ghost in the hallway once more. But for these few, precious minutes, there is the final silence. A silence that belongs only to you. No orders. No bells. No shame. Just the breath in your lungs and the soft, gray light of a winter morning. In 1885, this is the only true freedom. The sleep of the exhausted. Let the darkness fold over you like a velvet curtain. Let the weight of the day lift, just for a second, before the sun claims your time again. The house is breathing. The clocks are ticking. And the history, the long, invisible history of the service, continues into the light. Stay in this dream. Stay in the silence. Before the first bell calls us back to the start. The air is cold. The bed is hard. But the peace is absolute. Sleep for now. The morning is already here.